opportunity was that we had orders coming in. So that was the opportunity, that what made us, take that step. But the challenges were like, okay, the orders are coming in, we need more computers. Where do we put them?
Hello and welcome to Brandtuned, the show for entrepreneurs where we discuss personal and business brands to give you ideas and inspiration to stand out, win business and be heard in a noisy world. I'm Shireen Smith, lawyer, author and curious business owner, keen to uncover what moves the needle in branding. Topics I explore include how the brand impacts your success, how to design a brand that has legally distinctive visual elements and works so you reach success and have more time or more money or less stress. I also explore the role of intellectual property and brand protection and monetizing your brand using franchising or licensing. Subscribe to find out more. In terms of my personal life, I've thoroughly enjoyed having my daughters to stay for 2 weeks. We've had some lovely long family walks in the surrounding areas of Hastings, and I've started some new exercise routines involving yoga and dance. Having written my book, I decided to scrap it and start again. So I'm now getting started with writing it with the aim of having it published in mid-2021, by which time we might hopefully have emerged from this coronavirus situation. So now on to this week's content. Hi, Levent. Welcome to the Brandtuned podcast. It's great to have you here.
It's good to be with you, Shireen.
Great. So what made you decide to start your own business, Levent?
Well, I always had a burning desire to have my own business. Don't know why, because my father is, he was a civil servant. So, we had no sort of family history with entrepreneurship or running businesses. But I had this burning desire. And when we had an opportunity to do that in 1995, it took me 1 week to decide, handed my notice in, and that's how it all started, So it was like a spur of the moment decision. That's how it looked to other people outside. But I always had that burning desire to run my own business.
Oh, what sort of job were you in at the time?
Well, I was in print. I mean, that was my, it was a job that I was in for the 15 years or so. I joined as an apprentice, and then moved into production management and then the reproduction side, then eventually to the digital reproduction. And I was, it was a really good company. We really got on well with the directors. Actually, I was in the process of being made a director. And so it was all very well. And and what happened is that my wife, after giving birth to our child, she didn't want to go back to full-time job. So she set up this translation company, and I was obviously helping her. And in 1995, there was an opportunity to acquire another business, and came with it extra workload, which at that point she wasn't able to manage.
So, I see. So she's Turkish as well.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So it was perfect. She got it started, and then you joined her.
Yes, very much so. And as I said, it took me to decide 1 week to hand in my notice, and it was a bit of a shock to me, to the owners of the business, as well as, I mean, we departed really in good terms. They appreciated it. They appreciated why I was making that decision. At the time, we had 2 young children. We had a mortgage.
Wow, so it's very brave to start. Was your wife profitable then?
Well, not really. We saw the opportunity. And it was just a decision made on a gut feeling. There was no Excel spreadsheets, no calculations, no business plan. But we could feel the opportunity. And also she knew that I really want to do something for ourselves. So she supported me, and we never looked back, I'm pleased to say.
Wow. So what were the challenges, for the benefit of listeners so that they can learn more what to expect from their journeys? What were some of the challenges you faced?
Well, the biggest challenge was the biggest
Mm.
opportunity and the biggest challenge. The opportunity was that we had orders coming in. So that was the opportunity, that what made us take that step. But the challenges were like, okay, the orders are coming in, we need more computers. So we converted our dining room into an office because it happened so quickly. We didn't even have a chance to hire an office, so it had to be our dining room. So luckily at the time we had a childminder, and between our dining room and the lounge, there's like those French doors with full glasses. So as soon as the children came from school, the French doors were shut. They were with the childminder. Phone went. They had to be very quiet. Nowadays it's very okay to have children running in the background, but at the time it was like, wow, children, stop, be quiet. And we could see our children kind of getting really stressed out about it, And
Yeah.
so the biggest challenge was like putting everything together and like,
Yeah, delivering a good service is not easy, and just, making everything happen
yes. But one
seamless.
thing we did, we said, everything else can come second, but we must focus on the service. So whatever the cost was, we delivered the service, so everything else came little. I mean, initially they loved that we were having takeaways every night. And and after like the second week, my son, at the time he was 10, maybe 10, 11, and he was saying that, you know what, I don't really want another pizza. Initially, they
They
loved
wanted
it.
home-cooked food.
So that was the cost. But after a few months, we moved into an office and then, started putting things together. But the biggest challenge was the not having a business plan and a clear path to what we're gonna do in the next 6 months, let alone the next year.
Sure. Were you yourself actually translating? I mean, was it Turkish to English or English to Turkish, or
Well,
how did it work?
we did translation is a very very sort of skill that the native speakers don't normally have. So I knew that I could translate, but I could do much better job if I focused on quality assurance with my wife. So
Mhm.
we had really good team of translators. So
Mhm.
we were focusing on the final checks to make sure that the tone of voice was right. It registered correctly with the target audience, and so it was like making sure that the translations that we had, which we knew were good, but making sure that they were fit for purpose, because at the time the project was involved translating manuals for like military, and
I see.
and and it had to be understood by most people with not so much high education. So making it fit for purpose was really critical. So we really focused on the delivery, making sure that we we answered the telephones, replied to the customers, and so it was a good setup in that respect for delivery. But everything else was really chaotic.
So you bought a business, and I gather that you also bought another business as part of your growth strategy. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, it kind of came. I mean, we made an acquisition. It was a kind of accidental acquisition because it was our friend. She actually sold her business to somebody. Well, it was transferred, more like transferred, and
Mhm.
she started doing a master's degree at a university. So everything was in place for her. And then at the last minute, it fell through. The transfer fell through, not her
Mhm.
not her education, and also she paid the fees and everything. So she was really in a tight spot. So we stepped in. I mean, there was an opportunity as well as trying to help somebody, but
Mm.
also there was a correlation because she had the same business as us, same type of customers. So there was a good synergy. It wasn't total acquisition. It was but kind of semi-acquisition, but which helped her a lot and helped us. But we did the real acquisition in 2016.
Right.
And we didn't realize how much we learned from the first acquisition. So we made sure that there was a good synergy. The customer base was complementing our customer base. And also the company did a lot of translations for manufacturing industry, which really correlated with us because we have customers from manufacturers. Because, like any industry, as you would know, has got its own interesting points that you really need to be familiar with. And 2016, we made that acquisition, and that really worked really well. But it was a, win-win. It was a good deal for the people who sold it because, it was their baby, really, because they started it and they ran it for like 15, 20 years. No, apologies. It was almost 34 years. Yeah.
Why did they sell it?
They were retiring.
I see. That often happens. People want to retire. Yeah.
They were retiring. They had other plans. Their children grew up, left home. So, they came to a stage that, well, actually, we want to do something else that is, that's more fun and more interesting. And the process took about 2 years. The first year, they were more active. Second year, more like in a consultative role. But it meant that, obviously, we had to have a good understanding and good support. So whenever we needed their help, they were there. It worked because really they really tried very hard as well. Having the right synergy and the right core values made all the difference.
Right. So I gather you went through a rebranding exercise in 2013.
Yes.
How did that relate to your growth plans, and how did you actually take in this new business that you'd acquired into that?
Well, there was an interesting journey, actually, Shireen. You will remember because you helped us a lot at that time. You actually helped us shape up the name of because I was very keen. I love the name. I mean, we are called TTC, We Translate. I love the name We Translate, and I was so keen on it. And both the domain names and all denominations that you can think of, .com, .co.uk, .net, you name it, we purchased it. And actually, you tried very hard. It took you like few emails and few conversations to tell me that, look, Levent, this is very generic. You can't trademark this. It won't work. I didn't quite get it. Why wouldn't it not work? It's a lovely name. People will know this and will understand this. Then realize that actually, yes, you had a very good point. So we ended up with TTC We Translate, which we trademarked it. Actually, your company facilitated that for us. I think it gave us a very clean, uncomplicated brand that has appealed to other people, to outsiders. And when we went through the acquisition in 2016, there were 4 other companies, that wanted the same business. And the owners chose us. I think having that image, the logo, it helped us to win their hearts. Having that brand, nice, clean image, it helped us a lot.
Right. Have you kept their name, or have you subsumed that business into?
Very, very good question. Well, we for about 3 years we ran their website. We kept the name. During that time, we integrated all customers to the main brand. Now, we still, on our letterheads, we have TTC We Translate, incorporating Bedford Translations, because they were called Bedford Translations. So, the reference to the name, but everything else is under the umbrella of TTC We Translate.
Great.
It was more practical. Initially, the SEO purposes and reaching wider audience, because they were well known in Bedfordshire. So we kept the website going, but after a couple of years, it started becoming a kind of a chore, because updating one website is hard enough. With 2, that was really getting harder. So shut down the website. We are redirecting it to the main website.
Sure. Yeah.
But we still have a reference to the name.
So do you attribute your success to your rebrand?
It has played a very important part. We wanted to appeal. We wanted to look different. I think the rebrand came as part of that. And once we did the rebrand and put everything in place, it kind of fueled our growth. By the way, also Bedford Translations, we also trademarked it as well.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Even though we don't actively use it, but this is trademarked. I took your advice. I tried to understand it fully and put it into practice. So it's trademarked as well, so that in the future, no one can claim the name. So I thought, would you say that was a good idea?
Well, basically, after 5 years of non-use, people can challenge the trademark and cancel it.
Oh, right.
But as an interim measure, while the name still had some meaning, it's certainly good. And redirecting all the website to you, means that you got a lot of the value from the name.
Yes.
So probably it's not worth keeping it up after, not renew.
I see.
Because you're not using the name.
No.
But you still have some rights based on the fact that in the past, this company has been trading in translation. So somebody could use the name for a different sort of service, but you could have some sort of arguments against them using it for translation services, possibly.
I see. Oh, thanks for letting me know. That's good to know, really.
So what advice, what sort of difficulties did you have with repositioning your brand? What makes TTC We Translate different from other translation service providers? Did you look into that as part of your rebranding?
Looking back to 7 years ago, now I realize that we could have done it quite differently. So if I was to ever rebrand, which could happen in the next year or 2, but obviously there needs to be a purpose behind it. So we wouldn't rebrand just for the sake of it. But
sure,
I can feel that we can do it a lot better and differently. But it was a kind of an ongoing process. I think.
Well, you don't necessarily have to differ, but
no. We do. I strongly believe we do differ, and I think the rebranding was really part of that. Because we want today an image that reflects what we believe in and our core values. So it was really an important start. So the main difference, because there are lots of very good companies out there, but what makes us different is our core values. I wanted the brand to reflect that. So I didn't want a brand that didn't seem to be aligned with the core values. So I wanted this to kind of working together. So it was, I believe, it is our core values that makes us different from other companies. Not just, translation companies, but, most companies that's out there.
So how did you work out your core values and mission? I mean, what are they briefly, and do your clients care about them, do you think?
I believe they do. We talk a lot about our core values. When it comes to finding customers, or when there's a potential customer approaches us, or when we are getting a new employee joining our team, or if there's an issue about something, we find that we go back to our core values, and it is finding us the answers that we are looking for. Because potential customer, are we, can my company cater for every customer or every possible company? Not really. And we don't want to do that. We want to work with companies with whom we have the similar synergy and same or similar core values. So we say, for instance, we care for the environment. We care, we have social responsibilities. And a company or business that have no respect for the environment or have no care about social responsibility, I don't think we could possibly work with them. Even if I, as a business owner, even if I found it attractive and started it, I knew it would create a tension with my team in months to come. Even though most communication is nowadays by email, if there's a misalignment on the core values, I think it reflects on the way they, people speak to each other, they communicate with each other, or look at things, opportunities or problems totally differently. So we say we have social responsibilities. We say we put our people first. We invest in our people. We put customers first. All these affect the way we do business. And I believe we attract customers similar to those core values. I'm pleased to say all our customers that we love working with them, and it affects the end result, the products that we deliver. I mean, it's a service, but at the end of the day, our customers use these translations to make contact with future potential customers, as well as serve their existing customers with user manuals, with marketing messages, with information on their websites. So it actually works for them so much better because we have this alignment in our core values.
How do they find out what your core values are? Are they on your website, or how in the whole buying process is the customer made aware?
It's a very good question, and it's making me think about it. I think the first answer would be that's definitely on our website, and it's also on our marketing brochures. So we say these are our core values. Also, our external partners, our translators, reviewers, engineers, we also advocate the same core values with them, so that it is in most of our marketing brochures, websites, and even on our certain signatures, like we are here for you. Like during COVID-19, we put out a message to our customers. What can we do for you differently? Because your problems that you had or challenges you had 2 months ago could be quite different now. So what else can we do? What is it that you would like us to do? They get it and they like it.
Right. So what's your vision for the future, Levent? Do you envisage an exit ultimately?
It's a hard question for me, because I really enjoy what I do, and I'm pleased to say that I'm kind of changing my role in the company. So it's more, I know it's a cliche, working on the business, but like most cliches, it is so true. So
yeah, it's essential.
it
You
is,
need to run the business. Yeah.
So I've been working on the business, and it is more to do with strategy and creating products, adjusting products, also looking at the company culture, but company culture not just within our team, but also with our external partners. And we don't call them suppliers or providers. Okay, we have contracts that may say supplier, but we never refer to them as supplier or provider. They are our partners, because as far as our customers are concerned, we are all part of the same team. And so it is kind of embraced by our team, and I'm really proud that I kind of facilitated that.
Yeah, I was reading about Airbnb. I mean, they're currently suffering a lot, but they've got a similar issue because the hosts who actually take in their customers have nothing to do with them. They're not even, and yet they are very much part of the brand.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So what is a brand you particularly admire, and why is that?
It's a very good question. I like some brands for different reasons. I like Amazon because of of their customer service, even though you don't speak with anyone in Amazon, but the customer service is really interesting. And also their vision, nobody is pressurizing them for 2-hour delivery. But now they are working on this, deliveries by drones. I don't know, it may have, this current crisis may have impacted their testing and stuff, but they're pushing boundaries all the time. That's what
Yeah, I think in the process, they're actually making life difficult for everyone else because people's expectations are that, well, if I can get it in 2 hours, why are you going to take a week to give me something?
Yes. But what's interesting is nobody's pushing them, but they're kind of doing this themselves. And I like that part of Amazon because I'm finding myself in similar circumstances. That, for instance, yesterday I was talking with a customer about their website, website translation. They're building a new website. It's a well-established company, and in their website they have this video, very nicely done, perfect sound, excellent, and it suits very well for the British audience, UK audience, or let's say Anglo-Saxon audience. The video is making fun of their company, fun of their the managing director. It is fine. It is, when I watched it, I said that's very good. But when they were talking about putting this out to other audiences in Europe, in Far East Asia, I looked at the video from that point of view, and I had to sort of struggle with myself. Look, I really have to tell him about this because this video will not go well for instance, in Germany, where the business is conducted a lot more seriously. And with culture is, there's no right culture or wrong culture. But if a company is trying to attract potential customers in Germany, they have to respect and understand the cultural issues. And I said, look.
That's brilliant, Levent. So do you provide a service to advise companies on cultural differences, or would they need to have translation services for you to be able to help them?
That's where the line gets a bit blurred, Shireen. People see translations as a commodity. They say, translate A to B, how much, when can you deliver? And then they believe that's the end of the story. That's perfectly fine. I'm not offended or anything like that. But there's so much more behind it. So we ask questions, what is the purpose of the translation? If the purpose is, for instance, this company, I know the purpose because the client shared it with me in great detail. So I knew that video was intended for German audience, but it's a corporate audience. They're attracting high-end. I can't tell too much about the details, but basically they're a multi-million company, and they want to attract medium to large organizations that have a communication requirement. So we're talking about corporate structure, we're talking about managing directors and possibly marketing directors, and so we're talking about a lot of structure. And with that audience, that video wouldn't work. It would do the opposite. They will say, nah, this company can't be serious. If they are taking Mickey out of themselves, no, maybe they can't be that serious, which wouldn't be far from the truth. The trouble is, to make a good impression, we don't have that long. Sometimes it could be that people make decisions within 10, 15 seconds. And I really didn't want that to happen. But going back to your first question, about us providing cultural services, is that yes, we do, but sometimes customers don't ask for it. But even then, I still feel obliged to inform them. So that's my difficulty sometimes. And if sometimes I feel,
I understand you entirely. That happens to me with naming.
yeah,
When clients want help to sort of review a few names, and I think these names are really awful. So I can't
how do
help
you
but
tell them?
tell them
How
if
do,
they can change it, then they should, because so yeah, it goes beyond what they want, because they just want me to do a search, but actually I just look at the name and I think that's not a good name.
but
So
how do you tell them? Actually, I
I
remember.
just tell them, I say, of course I can do these searches, but this isn't a very good name, and I explain why. And usually they take it well. If they're coming to me for that service, in other words, they haven't already finalized the name, then I feel I'm doing a favor,
Yes,
if you
yes.
like, if they don't want to take it. But most take it very well. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I remember our communications, and initially I thought, well, why does Shireen like this name? He said it's a lovely name, but obviously, you've been very patient. You explained. It took a few emails, I remember, and I'm grateful that you did, because
Yeah.
now it makes sense, because now we are TTC. We translate. Nobody can imitate this, and we can
Sure.
trademark it. We've got, so it is
Yeah.
much easier to remember. But yeah,
So, Levent, I need to wrap up because I've got another
sure.
call to go. But where can people find you if listeners want to find you? Where's the best place?
Well, they can find us on Google. Just search for TTC We Translate. Because of our unique name, they can find it much easier. Or they can search for Levent Yildizgoren. And thanks to my...
That's not so easy to say.
That's not an easy one. That's not an easy one.
No.
But it is normally websites. And I mean, we feel passionate about talking to customers who have ambitions to grow globally. And sometimes, they decide not to go, but we still enjoy and talking and advising them. And when we see that they get results, that's even that's the kind of icing on the cake.
Great. So thank you very much indeed, Levent,
My
for
pleasure.
coming on to this podcast. That's it for this week. Do subscribe to the Brandtuned newsletter to get weekly updates. I'd also love to get your feedback. Just send me an email to info@brandtuned.com. Finally, if you liked the episode, please do share it with your friends and colleagues and review it on iTunes or whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts. If you leave us a 5-star review, it means more people will listen and we can spread the word much more quickly about the podcast. Thank you, and bye for now.